Hello, lovely people.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of Not Just Tentacles, where I, Rachel, attempt to demystify anime and animation.
And I, Ruth, stay mystified about the anime, but I love me some animation.
Because, unless you've been living under a rock, today is the most exciting day in the 2025 Helluva Boss calendar. Yee!
Why?
Because it was the release date of Mission Zero, which is the prequel, pilot, whatever you want to call it.
Sort of remade, rehashed pilot thing.
In other words, saying, this is a new series on Amazon Prime and this is how it began.
What?
I mean, it's not, but it's how new viewers will see it as beginning. So we're on Earth with a nice kind of city scene. Well, I wouldn't say it was nice. You've got kind of criminal schmucks running around, spray painting vandalism on the wall and
drop kicking babies,
stealing babies, stealing candy from babies,
hating Christmas.
Yeah. And you've got our heroes, anti-heroes, whatever they are, up on the roof looking down. And this is how Blitz basically sets up the premise for the entire show, saying about how their business is revenge. They're from hell. They kill people for the sinners that come there. And this is their way of bettering themselves, because most people who are imps work as baristas and kind of service jobs, but these guys want to do something more. And I actually like the way that it subtly sets up the whole Moxie being like not the black sheep, but the weak link of the company, how it's got him kind of stumbling as they're all going over the balcony and so on. And
just because he's little
and heavily coated dyspraxic. Yeah, well, we know he's not, but either way, he's Blitz's butt monkey. And I also loved the depiction of imps as well, of how humans think imps look. And then Blitz jumps down and is like, hi, I'm Blitz and I'm your assassin today. And that is when we realise that this is all just a fantasy and they are in fact sitting in the IMP office.
Mm-hmm. And then what happens?
Well, we're not going to just tell the whole episode. Otherwise, there's no point. We're meant to be reviewing it, aren't we? And this is something that I really liked. I like the fact that it is an introduction to the characters and their world, but much smoother.
There's no actual hit going on.
And I like that. We're getting to know them and see how the business runs and their relationships to each other. Because, to be honest, don't get me wrong, I love the hitman angle, but it has only ever been a framing device for the characters and just what's going on. And this is when we discover how Blitz managed to gain access to the human world, because as they've pointed out, Moxie points out logistics, how are they going to get there? And then he reveals it's because he's stolen a grimoire from a demon prince. And again, I prefer this way that they did it, because, okay, you had the whole flashback to him stealing it and so on, but it's made clear that him doing it is they can't believe that you dick down a demon prince because, well, the whole kind of class golf thing, but also they could get in serious trouble if this gets found out. And I just really much prefer this way of doing things, because in the original pilot, there were so many segues. At one stage, there was even a segue within a segue, which just felt really forced and clunky. While at this, it's just, when we have other episodes, they're clearly fantasy sequences while they're talking about how they want the hit to go, and it works much better. Although I can't help wondering what people are going to think when they've got the gorgeous animation of this episode and then they go back to how it looks previously. It's going to be
genuine season 1.
Yeah, where, don't get me wrong, I still love it and everything, but the animators have clearly taken a massive leap over however so many years it's been now.
Well, hang on, maybe they've done a little bit of zhuzhing.
Well, they do seem to have done some zhuzhing, whether it's adding in extra bits to tie it more closely to Has Been, and one bit where Blitz was looking especially awkward or whatever, they've changed that. So I get that, but we'll see, because we haven't done the marathon yet. We'll be doing it eventually, but we're busy people with busy lives. And something else that I really appreciated about this, I like that you had Millie and Luna having more of a role.
And, well, we know why they had limited roles in the first place. In the original pilot, it's because they were played by the same actress.
Yeah, they were both Erica, who is, of course, now just Luna. So Millie in the pilot was, well, in the first pilot, was a bit of a satellite to Moxie. She just reacted to him or reacted to Blitz, but didn't show much of a personality. While here, she's super enthusiastic.
It's Millie time!
It's Millie time, yeah, and showing that she's just as bad as him. Like, it's setting up that whole business of Moxie being the moral compass of the company, because they're both enthusiastically talking about killing kids.
Them all.
I know.
Kill them all.
It's really funny, and just showing that, yeah, how she and Blitz are the besties, while he and Blitz have more of a strange relationship.
That was my favourite line with the, what about the innocents? Oh, they're easiest to kill. You only need to put a tiniest amount of pressure on the neck.
Showing that Millie, despite being kind of kooky, manic pixie dream girl, is a born assassin. She's the best of all of them, apart from her tendency to get a bit carried away.
And horny.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I like the demon horniness, which they always warn about at the beginning of each episode, is a common thing, that they start fucking under the desk after a little bit of romantic kind of and then love hearts, and then fucking under the desk. Because I always worried, because obviously they do have public sex in later episodes, but I always worried that people thought that the insane horniness was just a queer thing that just was Stolas, when it just seems to be a thing that everybody in hell has. And I have to really feel sorry for Luna at this point. So she then comes in and tells Blitz that there's a phone call from Stolas. And how does it introduce Stolas?
You have something that belongs to me, Blitz.
So it's quite intimidating. It even has like spooky music. And
close up of his hands.
Yeah, saying you'll do anything to get it back. And Blitz is kind of shoving everything into a new life bag, whether it's horse pictures or whatever. And then it turns out, no, Stolas is absolutely desperate to have a rematch of what happened the other night. And he's sticking his butt in the air and kind of cavorting around. And he's just as horny as in the original, but without that kind of nasty, predatory, rapey edge. He's just desperate to see Blitz again, and just kind of like, woo. And Blitz says he can't do it because
he's even
at work. And what does his room look like?
There's candles, love hearts, and big balloons that say "fuck me, Blitzy."
And he's like, oh shit. And I just love that. It shows that Stolas is, well, he sees this as being an exciting romantic fling, while, as we will say later, Blitz sees it rather differently. But as far as he's concerned, he's like somebody in love for the first time and just really, really going overboard. And poor Luna, she's standing there listening to all this. Isn't he saying something about licking up a fountain of cum like a thirsty dog or whatever? And poor Luna is like, it's just like, yeah, they do have a habit of horrifying their daughters by having phone sex, which can't blame them for. It's just, and I much prefer that, because I always thought there was something slightly homophobic about the whole Moxie going about the sexual shenanigans. Well, in this case, it works much better because it's listening to your dad having some man describing what he wants to do to him. And wouldn't that just be the most horrifying thing ever? So it's like, and of course, Luna has such an expressive face as well. So it is just hilarious. So I just love this so much. And then, of course, when Stolas turns up at the office later, and they have the first thing, well, the nearest thing we've had to a Stolas sex scene. So what he says, poles out, holes out, etc. And they start getting busy on the desk. And I just thought, yay, that would never live to see the day. And of course, the others are just sitting there pretending this is perfectly normal.
Well, all the pictures on the walls are rattling.
Yeah, I mean, you've got stuck. Because it seems that Stolas has a click, because he's going on about, can you find it?
It'd be his cloaca.
And then saying, oh, my little explorer and whatever. And I actually like the way that this sets up because in the series itself, it made the feud between Moxie and Luna seem very one-sided, with her as the aggressor. But here, I think it clearly sets Moxie up as being at least just as bad, because he's like, shouldn't you have been manning the phones? And it's like, her father is fucking somebody on top of it. She's not going to be able to take any phone calls. But then Luna says one of the only things I don't like about this episode.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried being a bit less gay?
Or try not be gay, yeah. which is like, ooh. I mean, it's probably
No.
not quite as bad as the Arsler in the pilot, but it's still like, why? I know that because we grew up at a time where gay...
I was triggered.
Yeah, gay being pathetic or lame, which in itself is ableist, was used all the time. And unfortunately, due to obviously the state of the world, it's now making a bit of a comeback. And I really expected better of Luna, unless they're trying to establish at this point why... I don't know, 1, that if it's Moxie, anything goes. 2, she's crap at insults. Or 3, she really is meant to be genuinely unlikable at that point. Oh, damn it, I missed out a really funny thing with Luna. Because it much more adequately, I think.
It explains the relationship
Yeah.
between her and Blitz, that she's 22, but he's like, my child!
And covering her ears, even though, of course, she swears more than anybody else other than him. I love when he was holding up all those signs saying, no swearing, and then there's a picture of a dick and a cross out, and no potty mouth and whatever, and yeah. And then he blames Moxie for making Luna swear, even though, of course, that's just her typical language. But yeah, I liked that it makes it clear. And not only that, Millie then turns around and does something that's just as bad, if you ask me. She's like, ignore the hellhound, which speciesism against Luna, and you can see why she doesn't really like either of them. So you've got Moxie being a condescending little prick. I mean, I love him, but he can be. And then you've got Millie kind of treating her like she's a non-person. And yeah, she still calls her a hellhound, even until quite late in the series, like until Ghost Fuckers, I believe. That's the first time she uses her name. And of course, we go back to Stolitz. Well, okay, Stolas and Blitz, because at this point they're not, well, they're never a couple until very late on. And again, it just shows the big gulf in what they think is going on here. Because I do think that Blitz enjoys the sex, but he still does nonetheless see it as, sorry, keeping my hand still, see it as something that he just has to endure. Because Stolas is clearly there to take back the grimoire, but he also seems to be under the impression that this was a game that Blitz was trying to play to entice him back. And then Blitz, it is kind of like all over the place about... It is just complicated, let's just say, and leave it about that, because I don't want to sound like I'm saying that Blitz is being manipulative, because Stolas is still the one with all the power in the situation. So he is still the one that's most to blame in this scenario. And then, yeah, as he's
There's
all...
no blame. Where are you getting that from?
But yeah, so this shows that what Blitz has previously said is true. Yes, he did steal the grimoire, but Stolas did let him say that he could carry on using it. And obviously, Murder Family is when they finalise the form that the agreement takes, which is when it's like, we will have sex every full moon. While here, presumably, Stolas just thought it would be every now and then when they felt like it, but then Blitz ghosted him. So, and then he's like, oh, then he's like, God damn it, or whatever it is he says, as he kind of sinks in, as he realizes that this will be happening. So no, he did not fall in love during real fast, as some of us had romantically believed, but it will evolve with time. I mean, definitely has caught feelings by Harvest Moon Festival, we can safely say. But anyway, back to what's going on in the office. So he is now able to use the grimoire to get them to go to the human world. And this is when we see the souped up version of the IMP advert, because previously they did have a little nod to it.
Yeah.
And then he pushed it away. So you kind of preferred it when it was on a budget.
Kids die for free.
Yeah, and had them holding up signs and Blitz wearing a angel outfit, or having kind of like that orphanage for puppies.
Things they were doing to pose for the hits. But this stuff hasn't happened yet in the story.
So they've got to have this big sexy advert for something that they haven't done. So Blitz has clearly wasted all their savings, because he does say, we have no money. And Moxie's like, what? And yeah, we see where it's all gone on this big anime style advert that just basically illustrates everything that they're singing about. And they accidentally kill Vivsy.
I didn't think that was their...
and chases them.
I didn't think that was their advert.
So
I thought that was sort of like setting it up for the viewers.
Okay.
Because they haven't done their first kill yet.
So this is just saying this is what you should expect, I suppose.
Yeah.
But there is one thing which is beautifully animated in the way of perhaps a Star Wars poster, but to my mind, I'm slightly bothered by because it gives away too much. It is a picture that has practically everybody major that appears in the show in it. And it's like, why? And including some character who I personally think looks like Via, only older, but everybody else is like, oh, she must be a new Goetia, she must be a new villain or something right at the top. But who knows? But that's the only reservation I've got about that, because otherwise I think that whole sequence is marvelous. And
I prefer the original.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So do you prefer the original generally, or just the original jingle?
I like the original jingle. I loved the whole "the fuck is insurance."
Oh, I really missed that. Yeah.
And the annoying little kid.
See, I like that there was the Easter egg of him being ripped in half by Millie while she was kind of talking about how they had to kill all the witnesses.
But if you're coming new to the series, that's lost.
Yeah, you're just going to think, why is she ripping a kid in half? Well, unless it's to show that
ripping a little Timmy in half.
She means her words. But I kind of like that they got rid of the kid, because this is part of the reason why everybody got so hung up on the clients or on the targets or whatever, because they thought it was about that when, the little kid, I know he was played by Richard as well, but he just took up far too much of the episode, I thought, with the pilot.
No, he didn't.
But either way, I love that it recontextualized Stolit, so making it clear from the very beginning that
bit was nice. No thanks for the homophobia. And I just thought the heavy metal version was a little oversung, maybe.
I like the operatic versions of the assassination theme
cool.
And the Blitz theme. Though.
And also, you see from the start, it's not just the Spindlehorse logo that comes up. It's now an Amazon MGM thing. Now, if you know your animation history, MGM is gold. That's the legacy. That's like going back to the 1930s and 40s with Tex Avery and Droopy, Barney Bear, Tom and Jerry.
And Tex Avery is especially important because he made cartoons like Red Hot Riding Hood, where it was just like, this is not just for kids. These are adult cartoons of people killing themselves and having sex and randy grandmas. So Helluva Boss is very much in that vein.
Exactly. It's legacy.
I do notice, however, that this episode is like maybe 5 or 6 minutes longer than the actual thing, so maybe we should be fucking off shortly. But before we do that, we also had the teaser for Has Been. So that dropped yesterday. I thought I showed you it.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I did, but obviously I didn't. So it shows that in season 2, shit is going to get real. So war is on its way. You've got Shaggy looking concerned.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Vox is being a full-on populist and trying to stir people up and floating around and seeming to have hypnotized Angel, and you've got Alistair fighting, and I think what looks like a flashback with Sir Pentious, and you've got evil Loot, and the V's having a far more prominent role and being way more evil than they were in season 1. It just looks like it's gonna be a blast. I mean, okay, maybe not as funnier watch, because you know how it is, things always get darker and more serious in the second season. It just seems to be
I hate the dark serious second seasons. I want yucks.
I'm sure there will still be plenty of those. And you have Angel seeming to be rescuing Husk while he's tied to a train track, dressed in a dress. I'm not sure what's going on there, whether that's real, whether it's a fantasy sequence or what, but some Husker dust at last, so the shippers are happy about that. And now we've gone on to 19 minutes, so okay, I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, we've got to go now. Love you guys. Bye!
Did you like that? Don't forget to like and subscribe.